Greetings Indie Warriors, welcome to I Dream of Indie. My name's Old Gamer Joe with another review today as we look at Quest for Infamy on Nintendo Switch. This is a point-and-click adventure mixed with some combat, some spell casting, and it actually came out all the way back in 2014 on PC.
Hey there, little man. Watch where you're going.
Well, that's not very nice at all. You should really have more confidence in yourself.
Huh?
You said little man, and I assumed you were talking to your, twig and plums.
Being heavily inspired by classic Sierra titles, in particular the Quest for Glory series, Quest for Infamy puts players in control of Roam, a man with a striking resemblance to Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. Roam is a bit of a drifter and is looking to start fresh in the city of Volksville, where the game begins. Humor is subjective, of course, and this comedy won't be for everyone. Me personally, I thought this game was hilarious. The dialogue is witty, the characters are charming, and I really like the voice acting, even though it's not stellar. It kinda does fit the vibe of this game. Themes of lying, drinking, and stealing aren't going to be for everyone, of course, but the game almost gave off a bit of a Monty Python vibe for me, and I thought it was hilarious. Plus, your lead character is so damn sarcastic, it's hard not to like him. There are tons of dialogue options and character interactions to be seen or read. I believe there's 50 non-playable characters they have listed in total, but what I thought was really interesting with this game was that it actually features 3 different paths for players to take, depending on the choices they make. How you actually come to each path I won't spoil here, but there is a Brigand, Rogue, and Sorcerer path, and I loved how each of these featured unique quests. The Brigand path will allow you to increase combat skills and will have you chasing down a runaway horse, while going Rogue allows you to increase your thievery and climbing abilities. This also plays into the story a bit, as you'll now be a much better thief, so you might find yourself having to steal a few items, let's just say. Controls are not quite what you might be expecting out of your standard point-and-click adventure, though there are some similarities there. You have an inventory system which you can easily access at the top of your screen. You do have statistics in this game, and those will change depending on your actions throughout the adventure. You have a spell book depending on the path you take. There is a sundial because there's a day-night cycle in this game, so you can actually change the time of day. Certain events will happen at certain times. Interestingly, you can change the way that your character walks. So if you want to get around quickly, there is a run option. You can walk at a normal pace, and then there is a sneak mode. You will get better at things the more and more you do them. For example, I had to climb a gate at one point. I had to attempt this a few times before I was strong enough to do so. Kind of neat. As you might expect though, a lot of the gameplay is simply pointing and clicking. You have a few different cursors in this game. You can use your sword on certain items throughout. You have an eyeball to view items. You have a little finger icon so that you can enter and interact with items and doors, things like that. So you don't have a traditional verb system here. Instead, you have these icons. It kind of sort of works. I found that I was trying to use some items on specific characters where I thought that would be the solution, and then I wouldn't get a reaction at all, which led me to believe that it wasn't the solution. It turns out that you just have to really get the pointer in the right spot. This game's very picky about that, and that's kind of annoying. And just as you would expect in a point-and-click game, some of these answers are pretty obscure and might have you pulling your hair out. A lot of them are fun though, and overall, it's what you would expect in a lot of ways. Where the curveball is here is that there's actually some combat in this game too. Very rudimentary, but it's here. You'll basically be clicking between a few different attack options. You can throw up a shield if you so wish to defend the attack. You don't really need a lot of skill to get through these battles, but they are kind of silly and fun, and they do break up the gameplay a bit. Of course, the more characters you talk to, the more choices you'll get, so you'll learn more and more about this world, some of the characters and situations that you find yourself in, and you can actually breeze through the text pretty quickly, so I'll credit the game there. It's not a slow-paced game if you don't want it to be. You can skip dialogue that you feel like isn't going to be important to you. A nice feature on the Nintendo Switch version is the fact that you can use the touchscreen support, and I found that it worked pretty effectively for the most part. Maybe not the best game for it, just because you do have to cycle between so many different choices like the eyeball or the pointer, but it was still not bad. As far as the visuals are concerned, they're pretty great. They look fine on the Nintendo Switch, whether you're playing handheld or docked. A nice pixelated look, good throwback to those classic Sierra titles, especially Quest for Glory again. I think it looks pretty dang wonderful. I do have to say though, the portrait arts for the characters in this game, a little bit on the creepy realistic side. Now if you're looking at this footage, this game sounds pretty much like what you're probably thinking. It fits that era quite well, a nostalgic MIDI sound to it. I actually really enjoyed this soundtrack. Again, I know I mentioned the voice acting earlier, definitely a little bit canned and not the highest of quality, but does have a charm to it that I appreciated. Well, it's been over 7 years since this game came out, but it still feels fresh enough and enjoyable here on the Nintendo Switch, and that's wonderful. If you're a fan of Quest for Glory, again, you're absolutely going to get a kick out of this one, but even if you just like point-and-click games, this one's actually really well made. The combat is tacked on, yes, but it's still entertaining in an old-school kind of way. You do have these 3 different paths here that make it a little bit unique from more modern point-and-click adventure games. The humor is not going to be for everyone here, but still, I really liked it. I think there's some good dialogue between these different characters and plenty of it. Overall, I like this game. I think it's worth checking out if you're a fan of the genre and looking for a little bit of a unique spin on it. You need a bit of a morbid, dark sense of humor, but I certainly have one.
I yield. I yield. You could drink like a fish. Damn.
That's right.
You know, you just might be the kind of guy we could use.
What do you do?
Well, we're businessmen.
What do you sell? Body odor?
Thank you so much for watching the latest video from I Dream of Indie. We would now like to take a moment to pay tribute to our great indie warriors who support us through channel memberships. Bill T, Christian Cruz, Kevilo, Mitchell Hall, Chris Jackson, Nathan Moore, Adriana Amato, CJR, C. Coyle, Skeptism, Haley, Julian Kolbish, Jen Rose, Jesse, CPM, Bunny, Raylin, Marky Mint, Dave Hart, Peekaboo, Lex Noyle, Eric, PSC, King of the Hatch, Carmine, Red, Larkison, and Blue Francis 14. Thank you so much for everything that you do for independent developers, publishers, and for I Dream of Indie. Everybody else, please head down to the description box below. Let's defeat the gaming echo chamber and bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming.